Yeah, guys. So did you guys launch the instance through Terraform? Who are done?
Yes, for me.
What about others?
I haven't done it, Hari. Actually, I missed the first class of Terraform when you showed, and I didn't get time to watch the video. I'll do it tomorrow.
So yesterday was there is no class yesterday, right?
Right.
Guys, Ahmad, Adrian's, Melmal.
Yeah, actually, I have to watch the previous video also. That the one which you showed us to download. I have to see watch that video. I was absent that day.
Okay. So that was not in the recordings?
Yeah, it is in the recordings. Actually, I'm watching from from Terraform. You started from AWS at that time because my the AWS was not giving my OTP, and I messaged also you too regarding that problem. So that's the reason I'm a little bit slow for.
Okay.
By tomorrow, I will definitely do it.
Would like to join next session, please? Who is asking something like Mambo? Guys, Mahal Malvi, Mirja is started with Madhuri. Hey Madhuri. Awahu. Madhuri, you there? Madhuri joined, right? How are you? Guys,
How you ask the question or what? I understand.
yeah, I'm asking who did the Terraform? Something like
Okay.
who launched the Terraform through Terraform? Guys are able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Something like I will show you one thing. Yeah. So you launched a AWS, right? AWS instance, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you launched through AWS instance. What I want is I want to add a disk onto the new instance, something like you installed a you launched a Ansible instance, something like any one of the instance. So I want to add a disk on this, right? I want to add a disk, hard disk, something like, for example, I will show you one thing. Yeah. So this is the server you launched in AWS. This is the AWS instance. So it's has something like how much GB of EBS you take? 8 GB, right? How much GB of EBS volume you take? 8 GB. I will show you it in the yes. Launch instances. In this part, configure storage part, you selected 8 GB. 8 GB, right? So I want to attach another hard disk into the server. Another hard disk into the server. So something like I want to attach another, something like 50 GB is free. So I want to attach another, something like another at 10 GB hard disk. So 10 GB hard disk. So 10 GB hard disk. So how we can do it? So and I want to mount it, guys. So I already discussed in the something like I'd already discussed the partition in the previous class, something like a Linux class, guys. Discussed or not?
Partition of what?
Yeah, hard disk partitions. Something like this.
Okay.
This one.
No,
No, right?
no.
Yeah. Something like in Dell coverage, or something like in VM, we have something like we have 5 hard disks. 5 hard disks attached in the server. Okay. So this is the disk partition. So I have a server, Dell PowerEdge server. So in that server having 5 hard disks. 5 hard disks. So you see, so these are the hard disk. You see, this is the hard disk information. So these are the hard disks, something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Six hard disks. Six hard disks are there in that server. Okay. Something like disk partitions. So I will show you disk partitions. Disk partitions. So disk partitions, something like a server. I have a server, so Dell PowerEdge server or something like. So how much GB? So we are taking. So you launched a OVM, right? You launched OVM, Oracle Virtual Machine, right? Virtual machine on your server. So this is our laptop. So in this laptop, you installed the OVM, right? OVM software, and we install the OSS, right, guys? Guys, tell me who are launched the instances in OVM in our server desktop. So this is the OVM Oracle Virtual Machine. Oracle Virtual Machine. In that Oracle Virtual Machine, you launched a CentOS7, something like a Red Hat 7, something like a Windows, something like a SUSE Linux, whatever it may be. We can, based on the resources, we can install. So in that CentOS, while installing the CentOS, it's automatically default. It's taking the 8 GB of the storage, right? Guys, please respond. 8 GB of the storage. 8 GB of the storage. So I want something like a, so we attached a two more disks. We attached a two more disks on that server. Two more disks on the server, or either AWS instances. Something like the naming convention. The naming convention it should be. So in file system hierarchy, where the hard disk information available in the file system hierarchy. So in the which directory the hard disk information available, guys. File system hierarchy / boot, something like a /home root /home. You guys know? So where the hard disk information available in the guys, so where in which directory the hard disk information will be available? Something like in bin, the commands are there. Yes, bin super bin commands are there. Super user executed that commands. OPT third party softwares are root directory for root users, home directory. Home is for home users for a normal directory.
Yeah.
It is the configuration. So where is the hard disk information is available in this directory?
/dev.
Yeah, very good. /dev. In the /dev, the hard disk information will be available in the /dev directory. /dev directory. The naming convention should be naming convention should be something like a /dev. So this is the physical hard disk. Physical something like a HDD1. So this is HDD2. So this is HDD3. Three hard disks are there. The naming convention should be so the naming convention should be something like /dev. So this is the SATA disk. Which disk this is? A SATA disk. SATA disk 1. The second one is SATA disk 2. SATA disk 2. The third one is SATA disk 3. SATA disk 3. So these are the SATA disks, hard disks. So these are the hard disks. These are the hard disks. The naming convention, the naming convention for the SATA disk is something like SATA disk. SATA disk means SD. SD means SATA disk. So one means A. One means A. The second hard disk. SATA disk. B means 2. 2 means B. SATA disk C. 3 means C. Now you got it right. So
Yes.
the one name called as a SATA disk 1. A called as the 2 called as a SATA disk B. The 3 called as a SATA disk C. Yeah. Now guys tell me the naming convention for the first hard disk /dev SDA. SDA means SATA disk 1 /dev SDB called as a SATA disk 2 /dev SDB SDC SATA disk 3 SATA disk 3 guys. SATA disk 1, SATA disk 2, SATA disk 3. So something like a 3 hard disks are there. The naming convention should be /dev SDA /dev SDB /dev SDC. In AWS something like a /dev XVD A. 1 means A. 2 means /dev XVD /dev XVD. Guys, Mute yourself.
Ada push it.
Yeah. The three, so something like the here we have a three hard disks are there in AWS. Something, this is the second one. This is the third hard disk. These are the three hard disks are there in AWS. So this is the naming convention for AWS. AWS. AWS name it called as a XVDA, XVDC, XVDB, XVDC. So SATA disk A, SATA disk B, SATA disk C. So the in the for physical, it's showing something like SATA disk, a physical or virtual. In the physical or virtual, it's showing something like SATA disk. So this is the naming convention for AWS. It is showing dev XVDA. I will show you. Ansible connect. Sudo C. So how you can get the hard disk information? How much GB free? How much GB of free? D-H. DF-H. DF means a disk free. How much disk free in our system? It's showing something like, you see the naming convention for the hard disk is dev XVDA. So XVDA. So how much GB it is? 8 GB. So 1.8 GB is used. 6.3 GB is available. So 22% usage for slash. Now you got it. How much GB of the space is available? How much GB of something like how much percentage of so your hard disk space utilization? Something like yesterday, Steve, I think, Steven, right? Steve asked some question. Yeah. So a user is complaining that they cannot write a file because the disk is full. So the disk is full. How you can verify the disk is full or not? So here. So the disk is a full 8 GB. So if something like used 8 GB, so available space is 0. Something like here 100% used. 100% used. How you can find out? By using the command of df-h. You run df-h to report disk usage and states that the disk usage has 30% of its space available. Space of its space is available. What might be the cause? I think the user has not have a permissions to edit the file, right? No. So there is something like a command lsof and delete the files like a recycle bin. So something like how we can verify it by using the df-h. So df-h, but he's something like it's showing 30% in the du. df means a disk free and du means a disk usage. So in df it's showing something like a 100% used, but in the du command it's showing something like a 70% is used, 30% and 30% is free. So how we can get it? Something like you can use the lsof command and whatever you deleted, so you can go and delete permanently. Permanently. That is the case. So df-h comes into this. So df-h comes into this. So disk free. How much disk free is available? How much disk free is available. Guys, now you got it. So what is the disk? Something like, yeah, here. How many disks are there? Something like 3 disks are there, right? 3 at disks. Something like at disk 1. So this is our line AWS machine. So have a 2 disks are there. I have the 2 disks are there. So disks are there. How we can attach something like, for example, so this is the raw hard disk. This is the raw hard disk. So we buy a raw hard disk and attach it to the server, something like they have raw hard disk. So in AWS, something like it's called it as a /dev xvda, something like how much GB? 8 GB is there. 8 GB is there. Another hard disk added /dev xvdb. Again, it is a 10 GB. A 10 GB added. This is mounted. This is mounted to this
So,
8
Hari,
GB is mounted.
I
Yeah.
have a question.
Yeah.
So this is XVDA, but before you said it's a SATA disk. That was SDB.
Yes.
So
Yes.
why the naming change? I mean, because the raw disk and SDB is different. SATA disk.
Yeah. So while comes into the AWS, it will showing. So while adding, I will show you. Okay. I got your question. I will show you why it is converted. Okay. So it's mounted to /dev xvda. So it's created a partition and it's mounted to on which directory? /directory. So how much GB of space is available? How much GB of hard disk is added in this? 8 GB. So the /directory having a 8 GB. The /directory having a 8 GB because the hard disk is attached to the /directory. The /directory. So this the dev HVDA1 8 GB added to the directory /directory. So that /directory is having 8 GB. So because of this hard disk is attached to the this mount point. So what I am trying to do is I'm attaching another hard disk, that is a xvdb, and I'm trying to attaching to /dev xvdb1. I will show you how we can create the partition. So xvdbf2 something like /us class. So this is the folder. I'm creating that folder mkdir us class, and I am attaching to this. So hard disk. So something like how much GB? 10 GB. So now US class is having 10 GB space. 10 GB space. Now you got it. So something like df-h. If you see df-h, so still now we are not attaching to this to US classes. So it will show only the / because of the only xvd1 is there. The only xvd1 hard disk is there. How do you know the hard disk information? The command is lsblk. List of block devices. So list of block devices, here only one hard disk is added. One hard disk is added to the mission. Yeah. Here, so something like so when we attach it to the here AWS, the 10 GB, the format of the hard disk is the initial format of the hard disk is null. The format means file system type is null. So, but Linux, anyone, Linux knows only ext2 or ext3, ext4 and xfs. So xfs file system. But initially, if you attach it to the server, so that the initial the hard disk file system type is null, but the Linux file system is ext2, ext3, ext4. So if the file system is in this file system type, then only Linux is knows. Otherwise, null doesn't know the Linux file system. So we want to convert from null to ext2, ext3, ext4 and xfs. How we can convert it? mkfs, make a file system. So xfs is the latest version for CentOS7. Something like whatever you have. So xv, xvdf, xvdb1. So convert into something like mkfs.xfs. So this is the hard disk. So we are converting from a null to a Linux. How we can convert? So this is the way. We can convert a null format. Initially, when we bought the a hard disk, the hard disk file system is null. So a null file system doesn't know Linux. Linux means a CentOS, a Red Hat, or whatever it may be. It doesn't know. So if you want to know the hard disk. So if you want to use the hard disk in the Linux, so definitely we need to convert from null to so it's something like XFS or whatever it may be. Right, this is so this is the one. So this is the ones so we can attach this one. How we can format the disks? How we can format the disks? By using command fdisk. By using command fdisk. Fdisk is nothing but a format disk. Something like here, something like I have a 100 GB of hard disk. So I don't want 100 GB for US classes. I want only 10 GB for US classes, something like US class 1 to 10. We created 10 directories and we can assign a 10 GB to that mount points. How we can do it? By using a format the disk. How we can format the disk? fdisk /dev xvda or xvdb. We created a newly created xvdb. So here, so something like a primary and extended file systems are there. So we can so something like initially 4 primary and something like a 13 extended. So I'm selecting a primary. A primary and the GB of the file. So how much you want? Something like 5 GB. I want 5 GB of or 100 GB. In the 100 GB, I want 10 GB. So 10 GB is allocated to /dev xvdb1. So another same way, another 10 GB is allocated to /dev xvdb2. The same way and so on. Now you got it, right? So how we can so we created a 10 GB for xvdb1, xvdb2, but how we can mount it? So after formatting your hard disk, after creating the partitions on your hard disk, so we need to convert from null to XFS or ext2 or ext3 or xfs. After that,
Hari, I have a question. So
Yeah.
I know, I mean, it will sound silly, but this /dev/xvdb was 10 GB, right?
yes, no,
But
I'm saying 100 GB. It is a 100 GB.
100, okay.
It is a 100 GB. You assuming that it is a 100 GB. I want to create a partitions, 10 partitions, each partitions having a 10 GB.
how will we, how can we know, right, whether we want XFS or ext2 or ext3? I mean, who decides, or how can we decide?
Yeah, a Linux, Linux something like a Linux. While creating the Linux file system types, you see types of the Linux file system. So ext, ext2, ext3, and ext4 file system. The file system ext standards for the extended file system. So something like XFS file system. So while creating the Linux, defining or while inventing defining the ES, they created a format for the Linux ext2, ext3. So then only if you formatted the hard disk ext2 or a XFS, then only Linux understand. So what is the Linux file system? Linux file system is generally a built-in layer of the Linux operating system. So use it to handle the data management of the storage. It helps to arrange the file on the disk storage. It manages the file name, files, creation, data, and much more. Something like a Linux file system Linux file system has a hierarchical file structure. It contains a root directory and it's the subdirectories. All other directories can be accessed from the root directory. A partition usually has only one file system, but it may have more than one file system. Something like how they so ext2, ext3. So there's while creating the operating system, they defined as a file system. Okay, now you understand, right? So while
No, actually, my question is, let's say I am working on the Linux server, and let's say I got a requirement. They say, can you make this file system for, let's say, slash
yeah.
something,
I got
slash bug. So how can we decide, I mean, what type of file system I should create?
so if you so something like something like, so in RHEL, if that's something like you are using the CentOS7. Okay,
Okay.
launched a OS CentOS7. CentOS7 a new file system created, that is XFS. So if you are using a CentOS7, so what is the partition you make? XFS. If something like CentOS6 supported ext4.
Oh, it's advanced.
Sorry, your voice is breaking. I don't know. Yeah. So it is advanced. Something like CentOS.
I thought like
Five.
these are different categories, and we have to decide based on the requirement and all those
Yes.
things.
Yeah. CentOS7 is for XFS, CentOS6 for ext4, and CentOS5 is ext3. So if you want, you can use in the ext4 and ext3 also. But here, so we cannot use the XFS, because there is no, while developing the OS, there is no XFS concept. So only ext concept is there. So you can convert it ext3, ext2 at the lower environments, and thus use the defined environment.
So
You
now
understand?
is asking for ext. I mean, once.
So no one is asking for ext4. So I will show you while concepting the LVM.
Okay.
LVM concepting, if you take ext4, it can reduce the hard disk. So something like if you use XFS, so we cannot reduce, there is no concept of reducing hard disk. So that time, so CentOS wants a LVM, so then we can decide using of ext4 instead of XFS. Now you understand?
Oh, but when there is a situation when we don't want to reduce file system, I mean, sometimes there can be some issue, like sometimes it can happen, right? I mean, they say, oh, can you reduce the file system size and give that let's say there is a 10 GB file system, XFS,
Yeah, 10 GB.
and they want to make it 8 GB and give that 2 GB to another file system. So at that time,
Yeah, we
what's the
can read
point
it.
of using XFS?
Yeah, that time we are not using XFS. That time we are using ext4. I am telling you, in CentOS7, the XFS file system doesn't reduce the file, doesn't reduce it. So in CentOS6, the concept started as a something like ext, something like a CentOS5 from 5 onwards. That started a concept of LVM.
And can we change the type later on? Let's say I created file system with XFS, and later on they say, can you change it?
Yes, I will show you that thing.
Okay, awesome. That is a good thing.
Yeah. So something like this is the, so how you can something like BLK. Why it is?
I'm sorry if I'm taking the topic of
No worries, no worries. Yeah, always welcome. Something like if you are asking questions, so definitely it will
because
be.
the other participants also, right? So
Yeah, other participant also doesn't know the concept.
okay.
So welcome to the welcome. Always welcome to the questions.
Thank you.
Yeah. So something like, so how you know the hard disk information using the it is something, sorry, LSBLK, list of blocked devices, or else you can go to the /dev, in the /dev, you find out the information. You see, right, SDA. You asked something like why it converted from SDA to XVDA. So while adding, you can see that how it will convert. Okay. So now I have only one hard disk, that is SDA. Yeah, right. And you asked how do you know BLK ID /dev XVDA1. You see, so this is the XVDA1. So it is attached to, the label is attached to /. So you see the type of hard disk file system. The type of file system is XFS. You are saying like that, I want to modify from XFS to ext4. How we can do it, right? Who is asking something like Mirza?
Yeah, it's Mirza baby.
Yeah, Mirza. So something like you asked, right? How you can find out if it's a XFS file system or ext2 or something like. So you can find out by using the BLK ID. BLK ID means block ID. So block means the hard disk. Block devices. Hard disk is a block device, right? So block device ID for XVDA1 partition. That is the ID. This is the UUID, and the type is XFS. Now you got it?
Yes. Also, there is one command I use in my environment. It's like df-h capital P capital T.
Capital P capital
T.
D or T?
T as in type.
Yeah.
This also says type in the column. Second column.
Yeah, you can use df-h also, it's showing.
No, that's T, right? The capital T is for type.
Yes. Now you got it. Now I got it. You see, so this is the type XFS, right? So this is the way, or this is also another way. Okay. So how you can find out? So by using the df-ht, so the type XFS file system type. So it has only one hard disk. It has only one hard disk. Something like hard disk, something like if you use the one hard disk, something like there is a two types of so number of types of partitions, but so we use only a 2 or 3, something like a standard partition. One is standard, the other one is oops, the other one is LVM, the other one is a swap. So that is these are the partition types. So first is a standard, a standard partition, then LVM, and swap. Something like a, so partitions can be standard, LVM, and type. So how we can standard. So if you use this hard disk as a standard, if you use this hard disk as a standard partition, something like a standard partition, so we cannot reduce, we cannot extend. So if you are using a standard partition, we cannot reduce, we cannot extend, we cannot reduce, we cannot extend. If you take a LVM, it can be extend, it can be a reduce, something like a. So if it is a swap partitions, what is swap? Something like in our mobile or something like a laptop having a memory, right? Memory 4 GB of memory, 8 GB of memory, 32 GB of memory, 8 GB of memory. So if you run anything in our computer mobile, it will be run on the RAM. So something like the processes are, the running processes are, sleeping is there, something like, I will show you. In the top command, you see, so something like so total tasks, running task, sleeping task, and stop task, and dump task. So what these are? So something like here, the memory is 9 GB, something like a memory is 9 GB, something like free is 9 GB. So swap, there is no swap. So something like whenever we start the any process on Linux, it will be runs under CPU and memory. So something like memory is full, something like so is sleeping services also there. The service is not running, but it is processing. So we don't want to run the sleep process on the RAM. So we can use a swap. We can use a swap. Swap is like nothing but a RAM. It's RAM. But how we can create the swap? So we can create the swap in our hard disk. We can create the swap in our hard disk. Something like how much we can create? A double of the RAM. Something like your RAM is 4 GB. How much GB you can? How much GB you can create the swap? Something like 4 GB, double of the RAM, 8 GB. So 8 GB RAM, double of the RAM, 16 GB we can create it. So the sleeping process, waiting process will be in the it will be in the swap memory. So the running process will be running on the main memory. Now you got it, right?
It's like a waiting room.
Yes, waiting room.
Okay.
Yeah. Now you got it. Now you got it. So the standard partitions. So initially we are going with the standard partition. So if you want to convert from standard to LVM to standard, so we have a partition IDs. What is the partition ID for standard? Is 82. So what is the partition ID for LVM? 80. What is the standard partition for swap? 83. If you change the partition type from 82 to 80, it will convert from standard to LVM. So LVM to swap, you want to how you can convert. Yeah. So we created a 10 GB of XVDB1. We want to mount it. How we can mount it? So we can create a directory and we can mount it to that directory. So that directory. How we can mount it? So by using, we can create the directory and we can mount it. So the mounting will be mounting is nothing but attaching your hard disk to particular directory. So how we can do it? Mounting can be divided into, the mount types can be divided into two types. So one is a temporary mount, and the second one is a permanent mount. So temporary mount means if you are running your server, so you can use the at runtime. So we can use the command mount a source and a destination. Mount source and destination. Command is the mount command. What is the source? Source means your hard disk. Where is your hard disk? /dev xvd db1 will be mounted to /us class. This is the temporary mount. So once you reboot your mission, the mount point. So when you reboot your mission, all the mount points will be unmounted, then are rebooted. So if something like if the mount points are available in the vi/etc/etc fs tab, then only we can mount it. Otherwise, so we cannot mount. So that's the right. This is a temporary mount. While running the server, so we can mount by using the mount command. So after rebooting, it will not mount it again, because of these entries are temporary entries. So if you want to make it as a permanent, /etc fs tab. In that fs tab, you can give the entries in the /etc fs tab. So after rebooting, it will unmount the mount points, and while booting time, so it will verify, is there any mount points are available, or mount points need to mount on. So it will go to the fs tab entry, and we can verify it. Oh, something like, so I want to something like us class and the /. These two are there, so we need to mount it. So this is a temporary mount and permanent mount. Guys, now you got it. I will show you the practical. Yeah. So how do you know how many hard disks are available in this server? ls blk, or you can use /dev and ls. So here only one hard disk is there, that is SDA1, something like XVDA1 hard disk is there. I want to attach another hard disk to this server. How we can attach? So go to the volumes, yeah, this is the instances. So you can go to the EC2, then you can go to the volumes. So volumes, you can create a volume, something like size of 100 GB. I don't want 100 GB, something like that. I need a 5 GB. So because you see, right, if you launch an instance, you will see, yeah, free tier customer is eligible for up to 30 GB, right? I want to terminate the instance, node client, cancel instant, node client, I think node client. So terminate the instance. So go to the volumes, I create a volume. How much GB? Something like a 5 GB. 5 GB is enough. So where I need to create, here we need to verify where, so in these volumes, where you need to attach. I'm trying to attach this instance. The attach the document to this instance, Ansible instance. So where it is located, US East 1. You can create the volume on which availability zone, on 1C. Here 1A, this is the 1C. So I'm creating a 100 GB, no, not 100 GB, 5 GB to the 5 GB to 5 GB. I'm creating the hard disk. So this is the 5 GB of hard disk. So it is still creating. Yeah. So these all are in use. This is available means, so this hard disk is not attached to any instance. This hard disk is not attached to any instance. So let's try to attach this volume to any one of the server. Attach volume to, what is the server name? What is the server name? Ansible. I'm trying to add this Ansible. Something like the device name is /dev sd, something like SDB. Yes. So recommended device names for Linux SD /dev SDA1, SDB1, something like F2T. Something like we can use F. The something like Mirja, right? Who is Mirja?
Yeah,
Yeah. You see, a newer Linux kernel may rename your devices to /dev xvdf, because of we are giving svdf, but a newer Linux kernel may rename your devices to dev xvdf through xvdft internally, even when your device name entered here. So something like /dev sdf through sdb2. But how it converts?
oh, XVD.
Now you got it?
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. You got the clarity right now, your question?
Yes, but why is it doing it? I know. I mean, it's too
Yeah,
much.
in AWS, predefined. AWS is predefined. They are
Is
designed
this
for.
Amazon Linux?
Yes, Amazon Linux.
So it's only for Amazon Linux, or it's like
No,
everywhere?
all the kernels, whatever
kernels.
the OSs you are using in the AWS, so it will convert from XVDF. Okay.
Okay.
So this I attach it to which instance? This instance. I attach it to this instance, Ansible instance. Let's see. So if there are, if the hard disk is attached or not. What is the command? ls bl. You see, xvdf is attached. How much GB? 5 GB.
5 GB.
So initially only xvda is there, but now we added xvdf. Okay.
So we did not run mk make xfs, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So, if we run,
so this is the hard disk. This is the hard disk. This is the raw hard disk.
So if we run block ID and this, what will it show the type?
plkd /dev xvdf. So it's not converted. This is the raw disk, right? So the raw disk is in which format? Null format.
Okay.
Because not make the file system, right?
Yes. We will convert to something like mkfs to xfs. So because yeah, you can verify it on cd /dev ls. So there is another hard disk added, xvdf, sdf, right? So initially only SDI is there, only SDI is there. There is no SDF. So now it's showing SDF. Okay.
Okay. So I mean, is there a reason they are not using SDA, SDB until F? Why they are starting from SDF?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, whenever they started the AWS, it's something like they treat it as a XVDF.
Okay, maybe there's some kind of reserved something.
Yeah. Yes. So something like yeah, I attached the hard disk. I want to do a partition. I want to do a partition. How we can do it? fdisk. The command is fdisk is nothing but a format disk /dev xvdb, right? So welcome to the fdisk.
I have a question before you continue.
XVDF, right?
Sorry.
XVDF.
I have a question before. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, yes.
Okay, I want to know is possible to pack the file, oh, how do we call it? The system, the high disk, the first one.
The first one is
possible.
XVDA.
Yeah, it's possible to pack this disk.
Is possible to
do the partition with the first disk.
Yeah, we can do it. Something like there is a right? XVDA.
Yeah.
So you can see for help.
Okay.
Something like what is the partition information? You can use the partition. So P is XVDA1. It is created and it is for the So that the type is Linux. Standard is nothing but a Linux. Okay. So if you want to change the partition type, if you want to change the partition type, is T is the command. T is the command. So we have a two partitions. One is a 1 XVD1, other one is 128. So if you want to change the partition type, you can use the 1. You can use the 1. The type, if you see a list of the partition types. Yeah. 82 partition is standard partition and 8E is for something here. There is no 8E.
I think we have to select LVM. I think.
Yes, yes.
Oh.
For LVM, you can use 8E.
Here in this one, it's 31. Linux LVM. I mean, I just noticed. It's 31.
Yes, 31. In CentOS, it's something like a 82, 80E.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Maybe it's because of Amazon, they made some changes.
Yeah. Yep. Sorry. Why? Yeah. So something like, so I want to create a partition fdisk /dev xvdb, right? I'm creating a xvdf. So a partition. So M for help. What is M? So M is nothing but a, so for so D is nothing but a delete a partition. F is nothing but a free unpartitioned space. L is nothing but a list of non-partition types. So N is nothing, adding a new partition. T is nothing but a change the partition type. Standard, LVM, swap. You can change by using T. So W is nothing but a write and disk the write, disk and exit. Q is nothing but a quit without saving the changes. Now you got it. So what is the command we need to execute? What is the argument? N for new, right? So there are two types of partition types, so primary and extended. So if you use yeah, 4 is 4 primary and the partitions of 13 is extended, something like. So if you are using or you are not using, it automatically take as a P. So I did not take anything, but it's taking as a, it's using as a default response for P. So the partition number primary is 1 to 4. If you are not taking anything, it taking as a default one. So I did not take anything, but taking as a default one, something like I'm selecting the 5 GB, right? I'm selecting only 3 GB, only 3 GB. Yeah, I want to change the partition type. How we can change it? By using yeah 82. It will be standard partition. 83 it will be a swap partition. A 31 it will be a LVM. I want to change it. So if you are not so by default it will be standard. If you are not, 82. So I'm selecting 82. So change the partition type to Linux. Linux is nothing but a standard. So I'm writing. So now LSBLK.
So basically, XVDF is nothing but like a physical or some kind of a disk.
Yeah.
Sitting as which you cannot use, and to make it usable, you have to do partition.
Yeah.
And you can use that partition.
Okay. Yeah. So something like I created a partition XVDF, but still this hard disk in which format? Null format only. So we want to make it as a, if you want to use in the hard Linux file system, we need to definitely make it as a XFS or ext4. What is the hard disk /dev xvdf1. Now it changed to XFS. How you can?
So what happened if you run MKFS for XVDF for the raw? Nothing will happen, right?
Yeah, nothing will happen. It will change. Definitely, it will change. Initially, it will change it
from null to null
yeah.
to that.
After creating the partition, if you something like if did a mistake, you ran first mkfs.xfs in the dev xvdf only, not in the one. So again, you created a partition. Definitely, again, you make as a XFS file system.
Okay. Just
Okay.
like a directory, if you change the
Yes,
directory
yes,
permission, all the underlying files will be same.
yes. So
Okay.
we converted as a XFS file system. So now, so initially it is not showing. So it is a blk id /dev xvdf1. Now you see it's showing that file system type, right?
So if we have run that mkfs.xfs for xvdf, and if we have run block id, it will would have shown xfs.
Yes, I want to
So,
change. I want to change from XFS to ext3. How we can do it? The same way, mkfs dot
ext4.
ext4, but don't do the in real time. But don't do. So if the partition is if the something like the server is running in the live or application, so you don't do the don't do in the production. Okay, production servers.
So, but how can we do if we get the requirement?
How can we do it, Henri? We stop we on mount or what?
Yeah, so if yeah, something like if so internally the application team, dev team doesn't know how it is. Something like right? So if you want, you can take a backup. So so if any production servers, definitely you need to go through the maintenance window, right? So before that, you can take the backup and you can try it. So otherwise, if the corrupted the hard disk, so we cannot retrieve the data, right? So before that, you can take the backup. Before doing anything, before doing any changes on the production, definitely you can take a backup or you can take a snapshot or you can take anything. So we need a one copy of the backup, then you can do anything on the production. Because of
if something will go wrong, you restore, right?
yes.
You run back.
Yeah.
Okay.
So can we change the type using fdisk command?
fdisk command?
Yeah, using fdisk command, can we change like that also, or only this way? I mean, let's say if we have to go back to XFS, can we do fdisk -l command and do or no?
So
fdisk is only for formatting.
Yes, fdisk is only for formatting and changing the partition type only. Changing the partition, something like a standard
Oh, standard
LVM swap. Yeah,
swap.
if you use the fdisk command, we can create this, and so in this style we can change it to standard LVM or swap.
Okay, so there are partition types and file system types, two different things.
Yes.
Got it.
You got it right?
Right, got it, clear.
Yeah. So we added a one hard disk to the and we formatted one hard disk. I'm creating a one directory mkdir/us class. Yes, class. Something like, so I created a partition, and I created I converted my file system, and I created a directory. Now I am trying to mount something like attach the hard disk to the directory. How you can do it? Mount, the command is mount source. What is the source? Hard disk information xvdf1. So where you need to attach the hard disk. Yes, class 1 directory. You see, mount done. So df-h t. How you can verify it? So by using the df command. You see, so /dev xvdf1, the file system is ext4. So what is the size? 2.93 GB. So used 0 used, available is 3 GB. So the used one is 0.1. Now you got it?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is the temporary mount. Guys. So I will give you the task how we can do it on the permanent. how we can do it permanent. Okay.
Yes.
And the task is I attached the one volume manually through AWS console. I want to attach a new hard disk through Terraform. This is the your task. So how you can attach one new HDD hard disk to AWS through volumes and do a mount, something like a temporary mount, temp mount, and a permanent mount. Guys, I got it right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do. So why I am telling you, so we can attach the hard disk through Terraform. How we can attach the hard disk from Terraform? Guys, you can go to the registry.terraform.io. How we can attach it? You can verify. So whatever it may be, you can search it on Google or YouTube or WhatsApp, anything. So definitely tomorrow, I want to ask everyone the task is completed or not. If not, in the classroom only, I can something like so I will try to add it from your side. Okay, guys.
Please, can you share this link for us, please?